crash on the southern tip of Manhattan.
Still on fire on the inside.
Mr. Nelson Mandela, a free man.
We are starting a new era of hope.
The winner is Sydney.
A major terrorist attack on the tourist island of Bali.
Bradbury is going to come through and win gold!
Tear down this wall.
In a new three-part series.
Princess Di is dead. And who should we see about that?
We look at the decades that shaped Australia and changed the world forever.
We are calling it iPhone.
And it all starts with the sensational 80s.
And this was a very happy event. It was a fairy tale.
The 80s was a time when Australia became more a part of the world.
I think that it's the most fantastic event in the history of the world right now.
This is Decades.
Hi, I'm Sylvia Jeffries and welcome to Decades and the sensational 80s. Just as people are looking for something to feel good about at the start of the decade, along comes a fairy tale. July 29, 1981. More than 500,000 people line the streets of London. Prince Charles is about to marry Lady Diana Spencer.
There was an enormous sense then that by marrying Princess Diana, Prince Charles had secured the future of the monarchy.
She was extraordinarily attractive. He's the heir to the throne. It's a lovely day. It's a fantastic occasion. Everybody was incredibly buzzy.
All eyes are on the 20-year-old Lady Diana, a former kindergarten assistant about to become the Princess of Wales, a global icon and the most photographed woman in the world. 3,500 guests packed St Paul's Cathedral to see the couple take their vows.
I, Diana Francis.
I, Diana Francis.
Take thee, Charles Philip Arthur George.
Take thee, Philip Charles Arthur George.
A record global TV audience of 750 million is watching too.
There hadn't been a great many global TV events. And this was a very happy event. This was something which has been overused, but it was a fairy tale.
Later in the decade, there were festivities of a different kind and on a grand scale. 1988. It's the biggest celebration Australia has ever seen. Australia throws a real long party to celebrate the 200th anniversary of European settlement.
For me, the bicentenary was a huge leap forward in the notion that the nation is not simply an outpost of Great Britain and that we do have a fabulous history.
People felt good about themselves, good about the condition of the country, good about Australia's place in the world.
G'day, viewers. How the devil are you? Hogs here, talking at you live from my own living room.
The celebrations start on January the 1st with an unprecedented 4-hour TV broadcast using dazzling new satellite technology. One of the most spectacular sights is the Tall Ships project, which recreates the voyage of the First Fleet from England to Botany Bay.
The biggest single crowd in Australian history swarmed over every conceivable vantage to relive that moment that began it all.
The Tall Ships are the centrepiece of Australia Day celebrations on Sydney Harbour on January 26, 1988.
For our commitment to Australia, the quality which best defines what it means to be an Australian in 1988.
While Bob Hawke is making his speech about national identity, 40,000 people, Aboriginal and non-Indigenous, hold the biggest march seen in Sydney since the Vietnam War.
As the barricades were thrown aside, the procession gained momentum.
Problems that were started when the First Fleet sailed through those heads 200 years ago, the problems that were begun by that still exist today.
In April, Brisbane opens the largest event of the bicentennial, World Expo 88.
I now declare World Expo 88 well and truly open.
The 6-month-long World's Fair includes pavilions from 36 countries and attracts 15 million visitors. If there's anything that we take for granted now, it's that we're never out of touch. But times were about to change, and a team of engineers dared to dream of a strange new world, filled with distracted pedestrians.
We're trying to envision, will people walk down the street and talk to themselves on a phone? And, you know, is that going to happen or not? And we started practicing and we said, yeah, we think it would.
Those who think getting a car phone is not for them, whatever the reason, haven't kept up with the booming industry of cellular radio telephone.
Although the network is up, the hardware is just that, hard to wear. The world's first commercial handheld mobile phone is the Motorola DimeTap 8000X, also known as the Brick.
This unique cellular portable made by Motorola,
Another breakthrough in communications that will change our lifestyle.
which weighs only 30 ounces.
When you're carrying a brick, it is hard not to be conspicuous, but in the 80s, well, that was the whole point.
One of the iconic images of the 80s is some blow-dry guy in a convertible with his big brick phone. I mean, it's kind of comical, but it was a real status mark.
By making things like electronics and cars smaller, Japan is getting bigger. Its economy is booming.
The transistor, the microchip, a lot of things that had once been only accessible to big corporations became personal things.
The most individualistic of all is the Sony Walkman, the first mass-market portable personal stereo.
You can hear the music loud enough to shut out the world.
Business tuned into their favorite
It's the most popular audio product ever.
Now you could take your music anywhere.
What the Walkman did was it enveloped you in your own personal little soundtrack. It's like you're the star of your own movie.
Jane Fonda, legendary actress, divisive political figure, and symbol of revolution. Little does she know that in the 1980s, she will become the symbol of a look-good, feel-good revolution. Jane Fonda decides to take on a new cause, bringing equal opportunity exercise to the masses.
Women were not supposed to sweat. There were no exercise classes of any kind. You could go to a gym and stand on something with a band around your butt and it made you wiggle like this. That was about it.
Someone suggests to Fonda she use the latest technology in home entertainment to showcase her workout.
I'd never seen a video. I didn't know anyone that owned a video player or any videos.
And this is it!
Women love doing it, and pretty much everybody got physical. The workout video is a huge success, selling 17 million copies worldwide. 23 more best-selling videos follow. Fonda's workout helped spark an unparalleled revolution in the tech sector. Within a year, VCR sales nearly doubled.
It's a commercial phenomenon. Business couldn't be better.
1 in 10 families in the United States has a video recorder now.
Those early VCR owners were part of an entire new industry, the home video industry, that took off like a rocket.
Computer technology was also on the rise in the 80s, and there was one radical entrepreneur who was about to take over the world.
Computers are the medium that is best capable of transmitting some feeling that you have, that you want to share with other people.
He always wanted a company. He wanted to be one of those special people that runs the world.
At first, they sell circuit boards. Jobs is the salesman evangelist, Wozniak, the inventor. But when Woz builds the first Apple computer, the company really takes off. Steve Jobs is just 25 years old when, on December 12, 1980, Apple goes public. It is the biggest launch since the Ford Motor Company in 1956. A new breed of entrepreneur is born.
It's a good time to be idealistic when you're under 30.
In January 1984, Apple unveils the first Macintosh.
I'd like to let Macintosh speak for itself.
Hello, I'm Macintosh. It sure is great to get out of that bag.
This was really a Steve Jobs insight. Make the computer look cool and cater to the consumer's own personal passions rather than the needs of the corporation.
But the rival IBM PC is on the up. It may be ugly, but it's cheap, fast and flexible, and the corporate world loves it. With the Mac losing momentum, internal fighting at Apple pits Steve Jobs against the man he hired as CEO. The showdown comes at a meeting in May 1985.
Most of them felt very loyal to Steve. They loved Steve. But they also understood, many of them, and respected the way John Sculley knew how to run a major corporation.
Incredibly, Steve Jobs is ousted from the company he started.
I was told in no uncertain terms that there was no job for me. It was really, really tragic.
Steve was hit so hard, he didn't cry in front of me, but he was just so down and destroyed.
He goes on to establish a new computer company called Next and turns animation studio Pixar into an entertainment colossus.
So please join with me now and welcome from Apple Computer, Steve Jobs.
He was eventually asked back to run Apple in 1997.
Sometimes life's going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love.
Coming up next on the sensational 80s.
Jesus, save my soul.
I have never been involved with wife swapping.
Never.
Slapping people around.
Fat Incomo's gonna punch her.
Just generally being horrible.
This is very late for a dick to be up, I can tell you.
Tonight, Harry and Meghan introduce their new baby boy to the world. 9 News will cross live to Windsor as soon as it happens. Your first glimpse of the new bub coming up.
Meet Carlton's Daisy Thomas and Collingwood gun Jaden Stevenson before their blockbuster clash and crawl.